welcome to episode 44 of the Earful podcast. On this episode, we have Mark and Jack of Lonely the Brave.
Oh, we are pumped. That was a weird word. I'm going to slag something else next time I mention this. So, in this episode, we talk all about Jack joining the band, the process of bringing out a brand new album, the build up to that, with it being a while since they've released anything, and the writing process, and loads more. And if you like what you hear, in our bio, we are going to have a pre-save link, which will link you to pre-ordering the new album with loads of content that you get along with it. So make sure you check that out.
And if you enjoy this podcast, we have 42 other episodes for you to deep dive and listen. I think it's about 55 with bonus episodes and stuff. And if you enjoy it, feel free to leave a review. If not, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for listening.
Enjoy. How are we doing? So we've got Jack and we've got Mark from Lonely the Brave. How are we doing today, fellas? You okay?
Yeah, good, man. How are you?
Thank you.
Too bad. We're plodding on. I think that's just. That's
chewing
just
through it. Chewing through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I hear that.
Nice.
All right, so we're finally able to get you on for a very special reason that your third album is coming out soon. So we might as well get discussing everything about it, just to have an overall conversation, have a good natter, and go from there, if that sounds okay.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
What would you do if
All
you
right.
just said no then? Like,
Yeah,
no,
fine. Okay.
Don't want to talk about
episode.
I was here to talk about The Simpsons. Yeah, no.
Mate,
Yes.
I'll do an episode just about The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Done. Invite me anytime.
Nice.
Bonus episode sorted, though.
So yeah, it's your first big release, obviously since 2016. Would you say, has it been 4 years in the making, or is it? Or did you generally start writing this new album when Jack joined?
No, this album started coming together when we started working with Jack. There was no carryover from what we were doing before to this record. We wanted a complete clean break from everything. And to be honest, like where we were at the end of that period, we were all very much ready for a break, I guess. So we needed some time, and so I think this record's been, what was it, Jack, 2 years roughly in the making?
Yeah, I reckon so. On and off doing the things.
That's it. So so it was. Nothing carried over. We want to start it completely fresh, and yeah. I think it sounds like that as well. I think it still sounds like us, but I don't know. I said to Jack yesterday, the way I've been describing to people is like it's the same but different. Which sounds like a really cliche thing to
Got
say.
a little twist to it, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It still sounds like us, but Jack brings what Jack brings to the party, and things have changed from there.
So how's the writing and recording process been like? Is that like differed anywhere? Because I know, Jack, obviously you've produced this and mixed it as well. So what was that like for you?
It was just we did as much as we could together, basically, and because obviously the guys all work full time, and I'm sort of in a very lucky position to be able to have a studio, well, basically next door. So I'm in here sort of anyway, as it were. So we kind of started off rehearsing bits and pieces when the guys had time off. We'd have like weekends, maybe like say like it was over 2 years or whatever, but it would have been one weekend, sometimes once a month. That's a stray cat, by the way. It's the same one that was. Yeah, so we're going to the vets tomorrow, Mark. This is a stray cat. I don't own a cat. That's the cat's arse, if I'm allowed to say arse.
Yeah. Say what you need to. We
are still unsure what gender this is. A grumpy cat. Eats pasta, and anyway, so it's here at the minute. So it just chills out in the studio until we know who it belongs to.
One day.
Yeah, in August it comes to eat the food that the badgers we put out for the badgers and the foxes outside. Mum has a nursery and we put it out for the evenings. And anyway, badgers and foxes kept turning up, and this cat has been coming since August. And anyway, a couple of days ago, I just started walking in, so it's obviously happy enough.
Nice. Help himself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we're trying to find out what's going on. But no, with the recordings, obviously, we practiced when we could, and over the weekends, and then I guess they sort of turned into more fully formed songs within, because obviously the guys would start playing, they all know each other, and I knew them, but not like we'd never sort of like spent any time other than like at sports shows and festivals like Cello or whatever. So obviously writing a song with basically strangers in that sense is obviously going to be like weird. So but the strange thing is obviously the band already sound like themselves. The band already musically sound instrumentally like themselves, which I never heard before. So coming into the studio, like I already had an idea of what I thought they should sound like, inverted commas, but or rather what I heard them sound like in a live gig situation. So when they came up, we were just kind of demoing bits and pieces, and then over time we I guess we just fleshed them out a bit more. Mark, I don't know, like we just sort of did bits and pieces and.
Yeah, well, yeah, 100%. I mean, like Jack said, it was 2 years in the making, but actually, if you brought that down to the actual time we spent working over a 2-year period, it's probably like a matter of weeks, let alone like over a couple of years, because we've all been just so mad busy. But I mean, I think Jack hit the nail on the head there. We were talking about this yesterday with Jack. Like, it's the first time that I feel like we've sounded on record the way that we sound live, and that's the first time that's ever happened. And that's testament to what Jack's been doing and his hard work, behind the controls, because for the actual time we spent recording was really minimal, but because of this whole shit show that we're all living through at the moment, we've not been able to be there together, not been able to do this all at the same time. It's been one person up at a time or whatever, and then Jack working his ass off in the studio to get it where it is now. So
but from the tech point of view, like it's literally it's the element of like obviously there's editing and there's moving things and fades and shit like that. Like that's just always going to be. I mean, I don't have an assistant, so there's never going to be like that. And even I think it's like far too lazy to be doing that. I know that people have bits and pieces, but obviously I've come from a drummer's point of view, I've come from a guitarist's point of view, like songwriter, whatever. So I know all the bits and pieces and the effort that goes into that. And there's no point being like, right, let's do 100 takes of this. Let's get this sounding like the best thing you've ever heard. And a lot of it was like more exciting in that sense, because when the songs come back, like I kind of know what I want it. Well, I can hear it, right, instrumentally. So, and obviously, like I said, from the point of view of them playing the music and playing in a room, like I'm still hearing that in a sort of biggish area, like there's a hall in the studio, so you can kind of hear it in like a live-ish area, and see what they sound like, and then you just don't fuck it up. Like the problem isn't. Can I swear, by the way?
Yeah,
Yeah. Sorry. So obviously, the problem isn't to make it sound like them. It's to make it to not fuck it up from sounding like them. Because obviously, you put a mic up in front of a singer, it still sounds like that singer. It doesn't matter what mic you've got. So obviously the tonalities will change and bits and pieces like tech wise, but like ultimately. The job is for the producer to at least, well, obviously produce it with the band, because the band know what they want to sound like or have a better idea, so just working rather than working against them, be like, right, well, I've got 14 Grammys and this is what I do. Do you know what I mean? Like,
we've been there.
You can, no, you can obviously go from that angle, and I understand bands an artist will go to a certain person or certain players or a sound or whatever, and they'll be like, well, that's my favorite band. Why don't we just go and listen to what they want? But honestly, half the battle is knowing what the band want before you got into the studio, because that is a massive part of the prep. I'm sure you guys clearly musical. I understand that probably from studio time. Like if you just prep, like you can nail stuff a lot quicker. And you can go way overboard as well. I mean, not that it's a problem. Like I know bands that go in studio and they do insane amounts of layering and things like that, but then it'll just go get scrapped. But well, not always get scrapped, but you know what I mean? Like you can layer and you can layer and layer, and there's no song. And it's just like, well, it sounds cool as fuck, but it's like, hang on, where's the, like, what, do you know what I mean? It sounds cool to bands because they're like, wow, that's interesting. But and I think there's some cool songs on this album. I presume you guys have heard it, have you?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
There you go.
Nice, thanks, man. Nice. Well, yeah, literally, like, so some of the songs, like the Harrow at the end, like, to me, that it wasn't even like a song. I don't know how you felt about that, Mark, but it was my favorite. Yeah, exactly. So I like listening to that as a fan of like music in that sense, like a band thing. And I'm like, oh, I like this. I'm listening to the way it's done, but obviously the way I've stacked like so many fucking harmonies and there's loads of baritone guitars, which Mark's like fucking loves the baritones.
I live for baritone. That's it.
Yeah.
Like literally every track, I'm like, this nice piano song. Let's just cover it in baritone. Like,
yeah. But it's like it's whatever works, right? And obviously having that wall of sound, getting everything across, just gives you a bit more freedom on some of the tracks. Like, you know, so it was never going to be like, oh, let's try and pitch this at like daytime Radio 1, see if they're into like the Harrow or something. Like it just seems a bit like, oh, fuck, really. But yeah, as a listener, I quite like that stuff. So.
Did you find it daunting when it came to from experience hitting the reset button on a band and essentially the concept of starting again? Did you find that quite daunting at first, moving into like this process, or was it just pretty much you had an ambition, you had something to strive towards, and you just went for it?
Yeah, I don't think we felt any pressure to do anything. I don't think it was ever thought in that respect. I think we knew that we had unfinished business. We knew that the songs. We said it in all the press releases of this time, but it's true that the songs are the biggest part of this, and God, Jesus, there's bands way bigger than us have been through this, and kind of on the side, and we just love playing music and love writing music, and that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. And so, when everything happened that did happen, there wasn't ever any thought of, oh, right, should we call it a day? Because there wasn't really any. Yeah, it wasn't any need to. It didn't make any sense. We knew we could carry on doing what we wanted to do. I had literally I phoned 2 people about coming to try our vocals. So like Jack said, we knew Jack anyway, and we played shows together and met loads of times over the years, whatever else.
The other one was Eddie Vedder.
It was Eddie
busy.
Vedder. Yeah. So he was not available. So we just called Jack up and came down, and that was it. We didn't bother auditioning anything else. That was it. So we're like, cool, we're done. But that was the whole point of that next 2-year period, to get to music that we were happy to release. But we're not in any rush to get this stuff out. We weren't looking just to get back on that battle quick, get stuff out. We don't want to lose the wave. Fuck all that stuff. It's got to be right. There's no point otherwise. So
I think a lot of bands chase that, especially with social media and stuff. It's got to be consistent, got to be in people's faces. But I like that. From what I've heard, it sounds like there's a spark and energy in the album, and I think that translates to Jack, you coming into the band and working together. It sounds like there's a fresh perspective, sort of.
Okay, nice. That's good.
Yeah, I always feel like when I change up my approach to whatever I'm doing, if that's making music, it feels new and exciting again, and that's how it sounds to me. That's what I was trying to say, really.
Yeah, man. No, that's awesome. But I think you're dead on. That's the whole point. We've got renewed energy, we've got renewed focus from where we are, and we're going to diesel. We had a really shit time, back then, and to now be in a position where we've got every opportunity apart from this at the moment. we were saying this yesterday with Jack. It's the most lonely, brave thing that possibly happened. It's cool, back up and running. Oh, global pandemic, wicked, yeah, nice one. But apart from that, we've got every opportunity to get on and do it again. So yeah, no, we're lucky, we're good.
You probably released this stuff at the time when people need it the most, though, because obviously you've released your singles and released that EP, and like I said, we've not seen anything for 2 years, so I guess it's a good thing for people to receive during these times. And I know obviously you're not been able to play any more live shows or anything like that, but it's a good time for people to actually promote the new stuff that you've done as well.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. It's a funny one, isn't it? Because there's people who are sitting at home wanting to consume everything right now, and I'm one of them. I get it, and we all had that kind of discussion about getting the album, just to get it out. We just want people to hear it, but at the same time, it's got to be done properly. There's no point in spending all this time and energy, getting it to a point where we're really happy, and then just kind of not having a plan and doing it properly, and just there you go, guys, cool, just put it out. So it deserves more than that, and we're really lucky. We've got an amazing team of people looking after us behind the scenes, doing all that stuff. So we're very, very lucky to have all of them guys helping us out. So yeah, just desperate for people to hear it now, though. That's the thing.
The countdown begins, kind of thing.
That's it. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I think that's always the thing when it comes down to releasing stuff. It's you've got it and you're itching to just want to.
Yeah, 100%. I've been leaking it all over the place. Just send it out.
Well, like you said, I find it quite interesting with this album where it sounds like it fits in perfectly with the rest of the discography of what you guys have released so far, but yet it sounds so fresh and new. And that because there's such a somewhat where it keeps the Lonely Brave sound throughout the album, but there's like different types of songs. Not everything's the same. I think it's quite just a really refreshing album overall.
Oh, thank you. That's
Yeah,
cool.
that's cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think Jack nailed it. Because I mean, Jack came up with the album title, and again, we always used to say on the other records before this one, we always used to think we were writing really depressing music, and then we'd listen back to it, and there's always this like element of hope in it, you know. And again, I think there's still that in these tracks as well. And then Jack, write the lyrics of the actual track, like this, and then that being the album title, I think that ties in really well with everything that's gone before as well. But like you say, it's, we didn't want anyone to try and come and replicate what we had before. We wanted someone to bring what they do to the party, and Jack 100% has brought that. So it's cool. It feels good.
It's a certain way of because I've always been curious since you guys came on the scene in the first place. Is there a certain approach to writing? Because I always find that you guys have had a unique, like in terms of like me being a guitarist, I've always found the approach being quite unique. So is there like a certain influence, a certain style that you mainly sway towards, where you kind of get like your guitar approach from, or?
Right, this is going to sound really bad, and it's going to sound really bad. I literally don't listen to music at the moment, like at all. I don't know. Everyone's influenced by everything, but I don't sway to one particular genre of music or anything else from a guitar point of view. I think some of the most exciting records that have really done it for me over recent years have got nothing to do with guitar. But you take that influence of those other instruments and those other melodies and other styles, and they affect what you do. So, I think personally that's where it's at for me. That's the stuff I find interesting and or exciting. I'm never going to sit and listen to, no offense to people who love that stuff, it's cool, but just pentatonic blues solos over and over again, like I'm a guitarist, oh cool, great, that's lovely, but that's not for me. I like songs, I like stuff that you can get your teeth into and just fucking mean something to you. It's real, not whatever. But, I don't know. I'm talking shit.
Best impression of it.
Yeah, that's it.
I love the thought of you just giving whoever listens to this PTSD flashbacks of listening to that on repeat.
I had a Vietnam flashback to me and Matty standing outside Manchester Academy to try and meet some band or whatever it was, and there was improvised jazz playing in the background for like hours upon hours upon hours. To the point where Matty's like, I just won't listen to jazz anymore.
I'm done.
Yeah, a good reason.
So, in terms of like going from your writing approach to the actual recording, did things change? Because obviously you are working together now, and both have different aspects of the way you approach writing. Was it the traditional start with drums, or was it jamming in a room?
The way we always used to write was, music has always come first. So we'd have literally complete structures of songs, and then the lyrics would come after that, and to the varying degrees. So sometimes you go, oh cool, here's like pretty much a whole song and walking with it musically, and then everyone does their parts or whatever. Or other tracks are just completely organic, that just turn up in a rehearsal with all of us. So like Keeper was a prime example of that, wasn't it, Jack? It was just in Jack's studio and all of us just playing, and it just turned up, which is actually the first song we wrote. And then in terms of recording, very different, but in terms of actually like playing and writing the songs, it's traditionally something that comes in from a guitar line or whatever, and then becomes this thing that we all just add to, and then Jack obviously did all the vocals, melodies and lyrics for the vast majority of it after the kind of body of the music was done. But then some of the structures changed, and we were really lucky in the way that we worked this time, which is something we never had the opportunity to do before, because we had Jack and producing. We could basically pre-pro the entire record as we were making it. So you kind of have that, I guess, internally anyway, you know, as you're writing songs, but you don't have the actual facility to listen back to it most of the time. Well, we certainly didn't, you know. We used to record literally on a tape player. You know, they would have a tape player just put on the corner wall, and that's how we recorded what we were writing, you know. So to do it this way was really cool. And then, you know, Jack could chop things around and change things, and you thought, well, let's try it like this. So that was different very much for us, and worked really well.
In terms of like lyrical content as well, Jack, was there a certain like message or mood you was going for with this album?
Not particularly, other than I remember I spoke with, I think it was like an email thread or something with seem to remember Ross saying it or somebody or whatever. We were talking about like maybe some sort of collective kind of thing for it, because like because I've never written with other contributing writers in a band. I've been in bands, but I've always been sort of like the main writer anyway. So I was never thinking that anybody else other than the singer would write lyrics off the bat anyway. Not to be like, oh, the singer writes the lyrics, and obviously that isn't the case in all scenarios. But I never thought that I shouldn't at least be writing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just felt like it wasn't even like, oh, I need to write because I'm the singer. It was like, I feel like fucking pull your finger out, crack on. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. If you're singing, you've got to write the bloody lyrics, or at least that's how I personally felt. I know it's different with scenarios and whatever. But so anyway, yeah, no, the theme was never set particularly in stone, and I just kind of wrote about I kind of writ a few things about.
Wrote it down.
The lyricist writ a few things, but no, what it was just literally writing about things that I first and foremost obviously care about, but I can't really write like conceptually in the sense that I don't know. Well, maybe I can, but I don't really care about a lot of people's opinions on stuff. So I don't really think that I could write a song representing somebody else fairly, or if I was, I'd just be like, like, do you know what I mean? Because the performance of the vocal was always the first thing for me. It's the performance of the vocal, then the melody of the vocal, then the lyrics. So for me, like, the lyrics are so far down in my priority of like what needs to come across as the first thing, because I've always said like people in different countries they need to be able to get it emotionally, or at least just get the impact of the punch, the same way that the kick fucking hits you in the face, or the snare or whatever of an instrument, or the attack of like a guitar playing, like digging into the strings, the same way that comes out. And because obviously it's not kind of chilled out music in the vocal is like one way, or like a Damien Rice, or even on the flip side like a Billie Eilish, where the vocal's like really up close, really sort of intimate, but they're in your face, right? It's the same way, but in like rock music, in which the vocal has got to be powerful, you know, like a kind of fucking just like a held note. I actually think I did that yesterday, Mark, as well. I've done that twice into
Are we going back to the
yeah. But just having yeah, exactly. Well, just literally just having the performance nailed in that. I don't know, just kind of give it a bit of effort, and then once that comes across to someone in a different country who doesn't relate, or it basically just opens up a different audience than would usually be like, right, well, what are they singing about? You know what I mean? Because I've always hated the fact that if I don't like what the singer is singing about, then like, because obviously we're just human nature, like you have to kind of connect with the person, hopefully, for the most part. And if you find out that they've been a knob in real life, it's like, right, I can't listen to that. And it's a shame, I think, as like a musician point of view, because I don't know, like, obviously instrumental music gets away with it, but like someone with a vocal and like singing something about something they care about, but you don't care about it, and I feel like that shouldn't be enough to put you off listening to the whole song, right? So I feel that's a bit of a shame. But yeah, lyrically, like, it just ended up being me whinging about different things that I cared about a lot, and then I realized that underlining message was that because I cared about them quite a lot, it's showing that I actually am hopeful for people's opinions. It's really weird, because I'm always like, oh, I fucking hate what they're talking about, like this is shit, that's shit, or whatever. But I'm not like I feel like a really happy person all the time. Like I whinge, but I'm always happy. So it's like, at least for the most part, I'm always happy. So I feel like everything that I'm trying to say is it has some sort of undertone of it just being like, look, it's not that shit. Like, I mean, I'm lucky. I'm in a lucky position anyway, because of my parents and my family and the setup and everything like that, and how I've been brought up. I feel like not being able to care about stuff a lot is quite a burden taken off my shoulders, to just go like, right, we'll just sing about whatever. So Bounce, for me, is about animals and about how much I care about people making stupid decisions about like plastic straws and stuff like that. But who fucking cares if you know that and you're listening to the song? If the chorus hits you and you go, wow, I really like this, you don't go, what about the straws? Do you know what I mean? It's like who fucking cares? Do you know what I mean? Like it, and the same way that I don't care if they care. You know, I don't, if they're like, you know what, that's really powerful message, awesome. And equally if they're like, I really like the snare drum sustain on the second bar of verse, I'm like, great. That's the same reason that I want to produce it in that way that everybody comes across like they're putting effort in every bar and every measure. So yeah, that's from that point of view. Yeah, that's lyrics. Talking about fucking snare drum.
I think overall, I think that's just such a good mindset to have in terms of like creativity. I think the way that you prioritize how the structure of the song should work in terms of what needs to be a priority and what isn't so much. I think that's probably the best mindset to have when it comes to songwriting and recording material.
But how do you do it when you record? When you go in, are you a lyrics person or a...
I think we do it in terms of it has to be a mixture of both. Where melody's a key thing, because at the end of the day, if they can't switch on to the fact that this is the chorus, then it doesn't serve the purpose of a chorus at the end of the day. I think that's the way that that's just my personal opinion on that. I think you have to have some sort of like strong melody to fit. It doesn't matter if it's you have a banging instrumental part. If like everything isn't at the same level, then it doesn't work overall. Right.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think that's really cool how people approach it differently. Because we didn't really sit down and talk about like how we approach the recording as much. We just kind of just did it, and therefore the band still sound like the band. We've not changed. We've not, like maybe up to maybe Mark, you might say like on instruments, we use different instruments and maybe different pedals or even sometimes lack of pedals. I don't know if that's different or not as different.
That is definitely different. Right. I mean, it's the first time I've ever used get real guitar nerd, sorry, but like
that's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, cool.
I'll blank out for a minute, but it's okay.
Excellent. I'll just pass out and half through as well. But Kempers and profiling and all that kind of stuff. I'm quite traditional when it comes to guitar sounds and how to record, and because that's all I know. That's not because I'm not into that kind of stuff. I haven't got access to that personally. And when we came to record this time, it's like, oh, cool, we've got this magic box that's got 1 billion amplifiers in it. Who the fuck wouldn't want to play with that? Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
Get over yourself. There's a lot of people like, oh, yeah, I need to have it. Fuck off. It sounds good. You use it. It doesn't matter. So that was definitely new. I mean, I think Jack had to rein me in because I get lost for days in there. Otherwise. It's kind of like, cool, that works, do it now, So that
I think that's the same with the majority of guitarists. I think from personal experience of like when we last went recording, I was like, ooh, Kemper, we should add octaves on this bit, and that's you just need to weigh it down. Let's just keep it basic. Okay. You don't need to do anything else. Just leave it as it is.
No, absolutely. I know we're still really lucky because we've got some nice toys to play with. So there's a lot of obviously real amps on there and some nice vintage amps and stuff as well. So we're lucky that we had those things to play with. But that was really fun for me. And it's something I would love to do more. I mean, going for a real tangent. Me and Jack have talked about how that works live and that kind of stuff. So stuff for the future, I guess. About doing it differently and about just trying to push what you do, make it better.
Yeah. I think if you did sit down and talk as a band and go, okay, how are we going to approach this recording process? It wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be the energetic record that you've made. It's because you've just got that spark all together and had fun with it that I think you have this record the way it is.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, we had a bit of a time restraint in that. Like we were saying, I think we had 2 weeks or something, Mark. I don't know what. We basically had like a period of time in January where the band basically booked off work or we're free or something. I can't remember exactly, but it was like from one weekend to another weekend. And I literally don't even think it was like 9 days or 8 or 9 days, and we tracked like loads of stuff. And one of it, like some of them weren't even songs at the start of the week, and then, or at least I didn't because I didn't hear any of them. Like 3 or 4 of them, I didn't hear as songs at all. I'm thinking, well, it doesn't matter. You just record everything that you can get down that you think sounds good to you, and then I'll sit with it and if it sounds like a song, and then like there's a few that like something I said, I'd swear that like wasn't even a thing. And then obviously like, because the same way that if you send off, I mean, it might have been, but it's so weird. But when you send it off to like a master engineer or someone who isn't yourself, so I felt like there was another stage of like objectivity where usually it's the band as a collective, and then a mixing engineer or a producer or whatever, and then a master engineer if that's a separate person as well. And you'd get a different opinion on what the overall arching thing of that song is. As opposed to, so like when Mo would just track something, I'd be like, right, just track all those little bits that you think like might work or may not work and stuff. And I just chop it and be like, oh, that works really cool as a verse and a chorus. And we'd have the freedom to sort of have it all without it being like inhibited. So he, you know what I mean? Because there's nothing worse than sit down and be like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't feel good about this. Like, I mean, you can say that about any instrument and it's going to come through, even to the point where you're literally like, we're playing bass and we try to like, Bush tried to use his 50s, I think it's a reissue, but I don't know or whichever one, the Fender P bass, Mark, I think it's a 50s reissue.
The orange one.
Yeah, the orange one.
Mm-hmm.
And we used it on he used it on one of the songs, and it was like a cool feature, like a cool thing. We thought, oh, this would be really good. And I listened to it, I was like, Bush, that sort of sounds a bit shit. Like, it sounds like it didn't sound like him playing, because there wasn't a lot of like prop, like it was Ampeg SVT classic, a 47 FET, a 421 thing, and a sub mic, right? And then some through some gear, and I won't go too techy, but that was what it was, right? And it was simple because of the way he plays. It sounds like him. I listen to the previous stuff. I'll listen to them live, obviously how they play live and YouTube videos and stuff like that. And that's kind of like how he plays. So this 50s bass that would come on, like, you know, when people try and change on purpose and be like, oh, we've been so introvert with this record, and we've gone like, I've gone palm muted in this area, right? I was like, Bush, I just genuinely can't hear what you're playing. Do you know, like, and it was on for a ballad, so you think, oh, it might work live. And I mean, even if it's psychologically looking at it, like, that's a cool as fuck looking bass, that looks incredible. And we ended up just using the standard P bass that he uses, but because it's the way he plays it, and he sort of felt more comfortable. And it's just little bits like that, like rather than like even when Mark was saying about the Kemper, like you think like, oh, it's going out your comfort zone to try something different, but in essence, it's actually not. It's like you can just plug in and just be like, whatever. Let's press record. If it works, it works. Like, you know, and there's honestly the bits on Bound I was listening to the other day that just sound like you would never use it as a guitar tone, but it makes up the final tone that then you hear as the guitar. So it's totally worth just doing that for like 5-10 minutes. I think band should have like limits, you know, like give yourself like an hour or half an hour and be like, all right, does this work? Let's just try it, right? Just to try everything. And if it doesn't work, just move on straight away. Like don't sit around and go, you know, because it could be something simple like just a guitar or just a bass change, and then you get the part that you wanted and playing the same thing. So
yeah, I think there's a balance in the studio where it's a balance of no limitations and limitations, because they can really bring up some inspiring stuff if you have none whatsoever, but too much you can fall down a black hole and get very lost very quickly.
Oh yeah, 100%. You end up making a concept album about slippers or something.
When's that coming out?
I mean, there's a record from years ago. I don't know if you guys remember the band Manson. Do you remember the band Manson? You remember those guys?
Not familiar, no.
So their second, I think it's their second album. Like their first album, wicked, really, really cool. And I actually do really like the second album. It's got some really cool bits in it. But I always think that's a classic example of that, where you listen to that first record and it's got like it's really immediate and interesting, and then the second record is really, really out there. And there's tracks that have got the most bizarre collection of sounds you'll ever hear. Something goes from like Warner Brothers or like Looney Tunes sounds in the middle of the song. So and you got like Muttley laughing in the background. Like, what is happening? Like, oh my god, my brain, you know. And that is just a classic example. Oh yeah, this would be really, just sat there getting baked. Like, thinking this would be amazing. Like a week. But yeah, you just no.
I guess that's the bonuses of obviously having the endless possibilities in the studio. You've not got a time limit as well, so you can literally stay there and just keep going through it until you've got the product that you're happy with.
I think yes and no, but for, you know, like we say, 2 years kind of in the making. But actually, like Jack said, when it came to actually recording it, we had a really finite amount of time. So I mean, personally, my point of view, like guitars were a day and a bit. because we've got all the parts ready, we know what to play. There's only, and as Jack said, it wasn't a case of playing it 200 times to get the perfect take. It's not what we wanted. Jack obviously has then spent an awful lot of time in the studio, refining and getting it to where it is now. But I mean, that's the one bit that I did miss from this time round, because we had to do it this way. We were so used to before that. I love sitting and listening to Mo do his drum takes. I love watching Bush do his parts. I love watching, Ross making soundscapes all over the place. I love watching, listening to a vocalist, maybe in a booth or even in the room with them, doing the vocals. That's a really amazing, powerful thing to witness. And that's the one thing that I do miss from this recording. It doesn't matter. The result is fine. But it's just from a personal point of view. I love being there, watching people create. That's the one thing. And also, like, where Jack's sitting now, you've got the desk the other side of him, all sitting there while he plays the buttons. Yeah, that's it. That sounds amazing. Yeah, great. Yeah, wicked. Being able to do that. Whereas we were doing a lot of that by email or conference call, because we're not in the same. We can't do it live. So that was definitely a lot harder than perhaps the ways we've done it before. But kudos to Jack, because he got there, and Jesus, to do that over emails and calls is but that's more to do with Jack and knowing where he wanted it to be, and how he was hearing it and how he thought it should sound. Because, as I said earlier, for me it's the first time we sound on record the way that we think we do live. So that's very happy.
I bet that's something to look forward to next year anyway. Hopefully that all goes ahead. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens there. But the weird thing is we were kind of thinking, I guess because we sort of fingers crossed that everything didn't have to get moved a million times, because obviously COVID and whatever with touring schedules and stuff. But like every band basically has to do at least a show around an album launch. I mean, do you know what I mean? It's like in the history of music or whatever. It's just been, you have to do some sort of gigging schedule. So there's no way we couldn't at least try our best to try and get shows in place. But we'll just see what it looks like next year. It's changing. Like, I mean, we didn't even think there'd be a vaccine. You know what I mean? So like, there's bits and pieces. Like, I mean, whether that means shows will be back to normal next year, I don't know. But at least there's some sort of remote hope of there being, there being gigs next year, like actual, as opposed to someone being like, oh, back come the new year. You know what I mean? Like, what? Yeah. So I mean, January 1st, nothing's fucking going to change, mate. Tell you that right now. But like the fact that they're trying to reel out vaccines like early or late December or whatever. If that is a thing, then even if it's just fucking confidence of people are doing normal shit again, we'll see.
Or we end up with obviously like all the vulnerable people in like over 70s have all had the jab, so they will be the only ones that are shows, which would be amazing.
First ones at the game, front row.
It's like front row of 78-year-olds. I'm off for that. That's fine. That's cool.
That's a music video if I've ever heard.
It's funny, man. But like, can you imagine that first show back? I mean, I said this to someone else the other day. Like, the only thing I can even come close to thinking would be close. We were in we were in Belgium the night of the Bataclan attack, and which obviously was just horrific. And then we were playing in Berlin the next night, and you can imagine the tension of everyone there, us, everyone on the street, everyone just like, Jesus, should this be going ahead? Should we be doing this? And we came on stage and you could feel the tension in the room. Like people were like, Jesus, should we be here? And we started playing, and you literally just felt that go through the ceiling and out the roof, and everyone lost their minds. And it was the most incredible gig, one of the most incredible gigs we've ever had, in a small club in Berlin, because that weight just lifted. And I can only imagine that, this would be that, but maybe even stronger in some respects, because, we all just want to get back to what we love, I guess.
That's what music's all about, just getting you out that like sort of headspace and just taking yourself into that different world. Just
100%. Yeah, 100%, man. It's pure escapism, isn't it? That's the thing. It's what it's about. It's you take from it what you need, and you know what it means to you, and that's to then get that live in a room for other people that are getting that same feeling, and it's addictive.
So, have you got anything planned for the moment in time? Obviously, obviously you've got the whole PR that you'll be doing for this new album, but any other like tricks up your sleeve? Because I saw you released the piano version of Bright Eyes the other day, which is pretty awesome.
That's sick. That's
Have
cool.
we got more
Oh,
of that
nice.
to look forward to, or anything you can talk about actually?
Well, I don't know. I think we're trying to. It's not in terms of what we can or can't talk about. I mean, I don't know how. I don't know really. Mark, do you want? I don't know how press things work, but I basically don't. I don't really have a filter, so maybe Mark, you should take that. I don't know.
No. But to be fair, there's been so many things that we have planned that have had to get scrapped. That's
Exactly.
that's the worst thing about this. So with everything changing every 2 minutes, like we planned to do, we planned to film a show in this amazing like house studio thing, and do the whole like live show thing. Then that got scrapped because then they suddenly changed the rules and we couldn't do that. And it's just like fucking hell, like everything we're trying to do here is just getting like knocked on the head before we even get a chance to do it. So yeah, there will be some more things coming up, but at the moment it's just really hard trying to even get any of this stuff done. Like we're not a band that's got the kind of budget to have enough to be able to do this from home individually, and make it work to a level that we'd be happy with, or things like that. So we've been talking about various different things we can do, and you're 100% there's going to be more bits and pieces coming, but as long as they don't all get kiboshed by all these random rules they're putting in place. Yeah, 3 of you can be in a room if you're all called Jack on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll see what happens, man.
So one thing you did actually release was obviously the video for Bound. What was the process for that? Because
what a video!
Aesthetically, it's so cool. It's such a good video.
Right, nice.
Yeah, it's cool. We that was literally just before the first lockdown, wasn't it, Jack? We were it was everyone's like, oh, cool. Are we allowed to hug still? Is that a thing? Like, literally. Do you remember hugging people? Like when you saw them? Do you remember like shaking hands?
Weird.
I freak out seeing it in movies now. I'm like,
Yeah.
100%, man. So no, we were really, really fortunate in how that all came. Jack, you could go on that one.
Well, yeah, we didn't even really know. I guess at the time, because we'd actually just come back from London, sorting out finalizing the deal for the record label with the album, and it was like it wasn't so far after that. I didn't think it was like March. I don't know exactly when it was, but basically, I remember I'd had a bit of a sort of semi cold or whatever, and I'm like, every time to go to London, jump on the Virgin trains, whatever, right? And you always get a bit of a cold or something shit. I come home, like, I never get ill, and then I go to London once, and I'm like, for fuck's sake. But obviously, thinking back now, I'm thinking actually, everything's COVID. You just sort of think like, as soon as you get a cold, you got right, COVID. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like, I mean, it may have well been any other like cold or a common, it could have been anything, but obviously at the time, sort of think now, I'm like, Jesus, what was, but no, anyway, so we came back from that, and then I guess we just got lucky with the time frame. We just landed because there was, I don't think there was any talk of lockdown or any of that kind of stuff.
It was just before lockdown came in, just before it all got announced. It was kind of like, you shouldn't be in close proximity with other people, but nothing had really kicked off. So it was really right on the cusp of it. On the cusp of it. We're really lucky.
And he definitely edited it. Zach, who edited it, basically was like, I'm sure we were saying, when can we get this edited before this time or something for like a release date and some sort of planned schedule. I seem to remember like literally around that point we were then putting up like sort of like I remember doing like a little Instagram, just a jokey like a video saying like, do we still release music now? Like I'm hearing that people are dying. Like there's people dying. Do we release music? And it was like literally, unarguably, yes. Like we all listen to music and stuff like this. Like it was kind of people still listen to me. In every mood you would still, not everyone, but like it's still there. It still exists. So and it wasn't sort of you don't have to come into someone's house and give it to them. You know what I mean? Like he literally be like, it's online, it's for everyone, sort of thing, wherever you are. And because obviously the world was dealing with different stages, we literally just got lucky, I guess, the March thing. And then, but obviously that sets the lead for like what we can and can't do with other videos. So, but then again, I'm sure you've seen bands releasing videos where they're all doing their thing. So go and ask them how they do it. I mean, do you know what I mean? I literally wouldn't be able to tell you. But I don't know. I guess if the budget suggests it, someone will find a way. So that's how I feel, isn't it? We'll put 2 masks on today. We'll get 2 masks on. We could do a video shoot.
Yeah.
Off you go, pal. Whatever. But yeah,
Wrap
we got
yourself
lucky.
in cling film and bubble wrap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, we're even talking about doing a video at the minute, right? Aren't we, Mark? So it's like we're trying to sort of suss out how, if, why, when, sort of all the logistics of it, and you know, and I mean, when you can't go to the pub, but you can go to the gym now. Well, in a week you can go to the gym, or you can in some places. But then if it's work, you know, I mean, I'm sure you've obviously seen the news this year.
Yeah.
So it's like it's so up and down in what you can and can't do. I'm not surprised that people are taking what, you know, like, take it with a pinch of salt. That's the kind of this year's description of what you can and can't do. And essential work became mow and bush, frontline, kind of getting stuck in, to like, I'm out walking my friend's dog. Like, I'm doing this today. Like, I'm hanging out. Like, you know, I'm just doing all these sort of social things. I don't know. It's a year of judging people for me, and then forgetting that I judged them so heavily this year, when we hopefully see them in the back end of next year, whatever it would be, and be like, oh, I remember what you did. Good to see you, though. Good to see you at the gig. That's how I feel like it's going to be. But I mean, I think everyone's going to be so happy when everyone's back to normal, right? It just, I don't know. Like Mark said, like the gigs, honestly, I think people are going to lose their shit. Like, even the worst bands. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone get out.
To gigs, yeah.
Off we go. Death metal's got our comeback. Bush will be happy. Sorry. So go on, sorry, Karen. Don't know what the question was. I figure.
Oh, love it.
Oh man.
Should we
I think you
go on, Matt?
No, it means you're probably babbling, so carry on.
No, I was just going to take us on to the segment. So if you got something to talk about, go for it.
No, it was just mainly just adding on to what you were saying about planning music videos. Like, we're the exact same. We're like, well, can we do this? Can we rent somewhere? What can we
It's just
do?
impossible, man. It's crazy, isn't it? You're like, it's so mad. You can only have a certain amount of people in a room together and all that stuff. But then, you know, there's an office block with 150 people in it because they can't work from home. It's like, really? Yeah, okay, but we can't get like our 10 people together in a. It
is crazy.
You know, I don't. But at the same time, like Jack says, like, you don't ever. I don't ever want to be that guy that's just like, oh, fuck the rules. You know, it's too important. You know. Whatever.
We could probably do a video at Christmas, though, couldn't we? Based on these new rules.
This is it. Yeah, just quickly
Christmas Day.
whilst eating dinner. Yeah.
Yeah.
A substantial meal. What?
Yeah. Could do a music video while sharing plates at Christmas. There must be Christmas crackers involved, otherwise no music video can take place.
Do you have to measure the plates? Is this how it works? Is there like a weight to the food? Like substantial, like beans on toast? Is that substantial? No.
The weigh it. They put it on scales by, it's just under substantial.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
That's just lunchtime fodder, you know, whatever.
Yeah, we'll see. I guess we'll see.
Got it there.
The artwork for the album, how did that come about? Because it's quite striking. I really like it.
Nice. Mark, do you know?
That's it?
I know how it came about. Yeah, absolutely. So the artist is actually a really good friend of Ross. And we've seen some. He basically suggested, "Oh, cool. You guys have a look at this stuff, see what you think." And there were like 2 or 3 of her pieces that she'd done before that were like, "Oh, yeah, this is perfect. You have this for the album," and they'd been bought or used or whatever else. So we couldn't use those pieces. So we actually commissioned her to make one for us. And it turned out so well. It's what I love about it is it's kind of representative of all the different thoughts and things and feelings that have gone into this album. But it's actually, if you look at our previous artwork, it's so much more vibrant. It's so much more eye-catching, really striking. I'm really, really proud of it. I think it's beautiful.
I really like it.
And just to have. We've always done the same with the artwork, though. Through all the records, we've always approached artists and said, right, there's the record, whatever, listen to it. Just do whatever the record makes you think, and the first time round was a guy that actually became a tattoo artist that did that, and we couldn't believe what he sent back. We were just like a couple of drawings, and this thing came back like, whoa, what the like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one obviously is all like images from our childhood and family and all that kind of stuff and whatever else. and then this time, again, just from listening to the music that we had at the time, she's come up with this thing, this incredibly vibrant image. So yeah, we're really lucky to have it. Really lucky.
I think you've nailed it there with the striking as well, because like however you look at it, it is itself. Like it is always going to be that album, you know, like where you don't have to have a big we're kind of looking to have something where you don't have to have your name, you don't have to have your name full stop. You can literally just have like, it's just an imagery, and then obviously that's basically where you get any form of branding whatsoever, you know, when you have someone who's able to be like, oh, that's the album. You know, so then it's just simplifying how people identify it. Like even if it's this most basic form, you just like that's the album that you remember from whatever. And I always think that with good albums, I always remember the artwork, even if it's digital. I've got on here like I'm always like, oh, that's from da. So it's like
they used to pick albums, wasn't it? Like that cover.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, imagine that
like,
on a shop front or whatever. Yeah. It's like. So, yeah.
I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier, Jack, where it's like usually you send it off to another creator and get the outside perspective, and that's exactly what happened with the artist who did the artwork for it.
Yeah, yeah.
About it.
Yeah, it's the best way. It's cool. I mean, if what we're doing, you know, is somehow ingrained into that image, that's incredible. Yeah. You know, that's Again, how lucky are we? Amazing. Mm.
So should we get on to our first segment?
I believe we should, yeah.
Yeah. So listen, for both of you, what is your favourite scary movie? If you don't like horror movies, that's no problem. We'll talk about why.
Jack, you go first.
Well, I don't like horror movies. I like genuinely. do you, Mark?
I can't. No, I can't.
Really? That's
my wife loves horror films, like loves them.
Yeah, same my girlfriend.
Yeah, and no, it's not for me. It's not that I'm scared. I just don't like it.
Yeah. My policy on being scared is one that I'd rather not be scared. Isn't it a strange impulse that we'd rather not be scared to death of something? It's like my dad's like, oh, I'm not scared of this. I'm not scared of this. I'm like, oh, I don't have a fear of this. It's like, right, but then you're still not watching it. Because it's like, well, so you're not watching it because you're not scared of anything, right? You're not scared of anything, and you're like, right, I want to watch this because it's shit. I want to watch it. I'm not scared of it. And then I'm like, no, I am scared of it, and that's exactly why I'm not going to fucking watch it.
Well, at least you got a reason there, yeah.
Well, I don't know. Obviously, you guys are nerds for it then. So what's the deal with?
You guys need to ask this to Mo, because Mo is a massive horror fan, like huge. Really? He is so into his horror. So and Bush as well, to be fair, and Ross as well, actually. So you picked the wrong
Nailed it.
Yeah. I'll go straight down the history of that one. Yeah, no, but of the three, which just texted. He comes back. I think he does send me recommendations all the time, like this scared the shit out of me. I'm like, cool, I'm never going to watch it. Thanks.
Thanks for the heads up.
I think of it. Blair Witch Project. Let's go for that.
Yeah.
That's okay. I remember watching that when I was like 12 or something. And it was on upstairs in the house. However old, I don't know how old it is. It seems to be pretty old. I remember watching the back end of it, and it was middle of the day, bright sunshine outside, and I saw someone with a handheld camera, and I was like, this is a good idea. I'm like, I quite like how they've done other scenes, and it looks like really, really like badly graded. And I was thinking, I probably didn't think that was when I was 12, but I was looking at it, I was thinking, it just looks a bit like, because I couldn't tell that it was a film, right? I was looking at it, and I was thinking, this is a bit like kind of like online-y. I don't know if YouTube was such a big thing like 15, 16, 17 years ago. I literally don't know. But anyway, it felt like it was a new thing. So I remember watching that, a little bit of that. And then when some sort of the witches were a thing, I was like, oh, cool, see you in a bit. So I'm not interested in watching any of that. And also what I really like about scary films, because from my girlfriend watches like loads of all this crap, right? And I always like the beginning bits, because they're always everyone's got like a really nice family, and they're always set up in this really nice house. And it's always like, I'm like, oh my God, that house looks, the architecture is usually banging. It's always like really nice location, and the grading's usually like drones and shit panned in, and it's like, oh my God, look how nice this area is. And then it's like, everyone's going to die or whatever, right? And also Walking Dead, if you can class that as horror, it's absolutely garbage, by the way. If you've watched anything past season 5, it's like...
Is that when Rick gets taken off in the helicopter? Because that's about when I stopped. Or is that...
No, that's further on. season 5's like The Governor or something. It's when the zombies were still scary. Because I watched that and I wasn't. I'm like, oh, it's not. Well, it is scary, but it's like it's not scary. It's more like a thriller, isn't it? It's like it's just fucking. It's like the grand scale of it. Like 28 days later, like that film's fucking cool, and I'm like, oh my god, I like this, but obviously like, it's like I don't know. It's just fucking. Just what a dead genre. What a shit genre.
Oh,
I tell you what.
Wow.
No, it's a bad genre.
controversial.
It's a bad genre. Bin it all. That all bands.
It was all going so well.
Wait, we talked about zombies or horror?
So Mo suggested Host. That was the last thing he suggested to me.
Yeah.
Sounds good, does it?
Yeah, I've not seen that, but it's a cool story, bro. Yeah, he sent me that one. But what did we like? We watched this. We watched a couple of recently on this, and I can't remember. Screw it, I can't remember.
You watched some up here, didn't you?
Yeah, but that's the thing. When we come up to the studio, we end up watching a horror film because Mo loves them. So we sit there and they subject me to this absolute like. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm just going to go sleep in this room by myself now. I'm going to get murdered by whatever this thing is. Brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't know. I did like. I know it's such a cliche. Everyone knows about it, but like Grudge back in the day, because there's no let up to that film. There's no niceness. You know, there's always this segment of like, oh, we'll just let them relax a bit in the film. No, fuck you. You're not getting it. It's just horrible. All the way through. I respect that. I do respect.
Yeah, it's done well. It's done well. The same way that like if you listen to, you know, you listen to a band that you don't particularly like the music of or whatever, but you can like, wow, they fucking nailed the production, or they've, you know, you can tell that they're good at what they do or something like that. I have the same thing with horror films, and people give me a recommendation like it. Like I watched that in the cinema because it's like a thing. I'm like, fucking hell, like, I am scared to shit of this. Like I don't know if it's meant to be a scary film. Like I don't know do you guys consider that scary?
Yeah, it's definitely a horror.
Yeah, it's freaky.
Yeah, it's horror.
Yeah,
so you think?
Go on. What about Possum? Have you guys seen Possum?
Possum.
I've not, no. I
What's
think I've
that?
heard of it though.
Yeah, you should check that out. That was another my recommendation. But it's from. Do you ever watch Garth Marenghi's Dark Place? You guys know that?
I've seen that.
It's a spoof comedy series. It's amazing. It's really, really cool. You should check that out. But the guy that wrote wrote Possum, and that's why, like, because we're the whole band are big fans of Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, so you should check that out. But so he wrote Possum, which is pretty messed up.
What's that about? What's the premise of?
No idea. Didn't watch it.
Did you know what?
Nice.
Has there ever been like, because for us we get like influenced a lot, especially listening to movie soundtracks and that sort of stuff. Is there ever been a time where you've listened to or gone and watched a movie and came out of it like inspired by the actual soundtrack?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I love film score. I love it. It's one of my absolute favourite things. 100%. There's an amazing film called Waltz of Bashir. I don't know if you've ever seen that or heard that film, which is it's really, really heavy topic, but it's so beautifully done. And the score for that is Max Richter, but he just conjures these images up. He's got like this recurring theme called the Haunted Ocean, which plays throughout it in about 5 or 6 different segments. So it's just kind of a recurring theme. Man, just blow you away. It's incredible. But there's so many guys about it. They are masters. They are the masters of what they do. You know.
So if you could pick a film for your music to fit into. See if you could rewrite a soundtrack for a film
Top
with your
Gun.
guys' music. Top Gun.
100% Top Gun. Like I can still recount the entire film word for word. So yeah, it's Top Gun. I just want to play Danger Zone.
I thought something I said in the chorus sounded like Top Gear when I was saying
Top Gear, even better. Oh wow!
With like when it was like because it was like you and Ross playing this weird major fourth thing or whatever it is. It was like or something like, and obviously not like I don't know. I can't remember the fucking thing, but I seem to remember when you were playing it. I was like, I was like, that sounds like there's cars coming about. Like I said, we should definitely get cars for this one. Yeah, just like So same for me.
I ruined it with Top Gun. Sorry. Conversation killer. And he goes like, "Yeah, that's a shit film. Cool."
You know what, I've only just recently seen Top Gun. Like, it's only
What
been like
is
in the
wrong
past
with you?
year or so. I was like, I kind of need to watch some of these classics. Apparently,
Oh man, I still love that film. There's an amazing speech by Tarantino about Top Gun, about how it's actually the most homoerotic film of all time, and it's really, and he's right. So
It ruins Top Gun for you.
no, not at all. It's brilliant. I love it. You should check that out. It's good.
So, other than horror films, what are your pet peeves that piss you off the most?
Go on, Jack.
It doesn't piss me off. Like I'm not angry that they
No,
exist.
it's okay. I won't suggest it again.
No, literally. like literally, obviously, with what I like about obviously with the horror stuff is that like the same reason that I like anything is that when people put a lot of effort in and have like done it well, they've got like the right team, they haven't just done it for some weird reason like money. That like, because it's not like, you know, like when they make like Final Destination 15 or something, it's like, you know what's going to happen.
I love
They've already got it.
Squeezing it.
Yeah, it's like it's gonna sell money. People already know what they're going into. Like, you know, like have you seen Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Anyone seen that? Yeah. Well, there's like a, it's like a sort of jokey, obviously a comedy sitcom type thing. And there's what is it? What's the fucking? There's like a film that's in that. I don't know. Does anyone? Who watches it? Do you know what it's called? There's a film.
You've watched it more, haven't you, Matt?
Trying to think. You on about when you did Lethal Weapon 5 or something like that?
Yeah, but it's the film that they do in that. It's like oh god, what's it called? It's like they basically the joke is that they remake this film, but like, and they call it like 2, right? And it's like, and they go, what? You took everything out of it. That's like that's good. And they said, but we've got to include like more women. No, get rid of the women. It's like got to include more less guns. No, more guns, more cars, more noises. Like just things that sell well. And I've always had like a problem with. I mean, obviously that's funny and that's the joke of it.
Yeah.
But or they're taking the piss of the thing. But like obviously the same thing with like horror films and stuff like that. Everything that's done well and they spend a lot of time and a lot of effort. You know, like stuff that, like what's that? The Quiet Place. Like that, again, that's scary as fuck.
That's
but
a
it's just
great
like
film.
it's just cool, man. And it's Jim from the fucking Office. It's like,
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, but it shows that the same people that care about a joke can care about the intensity of keeping up that, like you're saying, Mark, with The Grudge and stuff. It's just like it just will not stop fucking frightening you. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. I love. What were you asking? Pet peeves. Okay,
Go on.
What you were talking about earlier, like people put in 100% in and you appreciate it.
Yeah.
I recommend watching Blair Witch again.
Right.
The time it came out, they did a bunch of guerrilla marketing where people didn't know it was a movie.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was in the news as if these people have actually gone missing in the woods.
So nice.
There was no trailers. It was just an advert where you thought it was a newscaster telling you people are missing in these woods.
Yeah.
People went to the cinema to see the found footage.
Yeah.
These people dying. So
that's great. Yeah.
Wasn't it the lowest cost, highest grossing film of all time for a long time as well?
I didn't know that, but I can imagine it would.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. It costs like nothing to make because it's such a great idea, such a great concept. I remember seeing it in the cinema. I went to see it at the cinema, and I remember watching this and thinking, okay, it's cool, but it's scary. Driving home past them was like, fuck this!
Yeah.
Like it terrified me. Yeah.
I think
and the second one was just bizarre, like bonkers. Did anyone watch the second one?
I've never got to the second one. No.
It's the most bizarre, mental thing I've ever seen. It doesn't make any sense. Like what
takes
the
you out of it.
Yeah, it's just gone mad. Anyway, sorry, we've gone on a tangent again.
Mate, that's the fun of it.
It's a private podcast.
Yeah. No, it's the bonkers. The one I was trying to remember was The Conjuring. You seen that?
Yeah.
So is that the one where it opens with like someone just hanging from the tree outside the house?
It's like the witch in it, and then you've got the nun as well that appears at some point.
Yeah,
it is the witch that's hanging outside the house.
Yeah. I remember that being pretty Yeah, nasty.
Yeah, I think The Conjuring and Sinister, like
Sinister, yeah,
the
that's-
films that stood out.
Oh man, so is that Sinister was the kind of demon that was trying to take the kids, isn't it? Is that right?
Yeah.
With the tapes. Like
Ah,
the
so-
keep scene and put tapes in.
Yeah, they
and
watched
it's of
tapes
this,
of the
weird
deaths and stuff like
footage.
that. Yeah.
Which is the one that was there's like this like
You want a
black.
bit
Go on.
It was like black and white.
Yeah, and he's got like big long clawed fingers, and he's standing by the baby's
Yeah.
crib. What's that called?
That's Sinister. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Sinister. Because there's the bit where they're talking on the, they can hear the baby on the monitor, and they can hear whispering, and then she's like,
Oh,
"What's that?" And they can hear it like going, and then it screams down the baby monitor.
Yeah.
It's like,
Jump
now.
scares,
It's
yeah.
like, oh, that,
Oh,
oh
mate.
Jesus. Yeah, that especially like at that point, I think we just had our first kid, and we're like, oh, okay,
Oh.
Not
yeah.
the film to watch.
No, 100% not. So,
Jack's added him to his list.
He's left. He's gone.
No.
I'm just trying to get this cat was just huffing, so I was trying to see. Do you want to go outside? Come on. Like, because I don't really know if did anyone have a cat?
No.
No. But I've had a cat in the past.
Did they
No
go to the door, or did they just?
What, they need a wee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Generally.
they usually like claw at the door if they want to go out or linger.
Okay. Well, it's
But-
definitely lingering. Do you want to go outside?
Or sit on your face. Just
Honestly,
like,
if you open if you open that door and he hasn't shut out or she,
Yeah.
then he probably just wants to chill.
Okay, no problems then. You gonna high five?
Have you got a name? Have you got a name for it yet?
Ramesh, because it's got a weird eye. Ramesh Ranganathan, if you know.
Oh, nice. I like that.
But I'm not sure if it's a boy or a girl, so I've just called Grumpy Cat at the minute because
Grumpy
he's
Cat.
hitting at me the very first few times. I'm just trying to keep an eye because we're going to vets, like I say, and then hopefully get rehomed because our husky will eat him or her. So there you go. I'm still listening, by the way.
Jack, pet peeves. Come on. What pet peeves?
People going off on one.
On tangents.
People going off on tangents, sorting out cats and stuff like that. People talking too much. Oh, no, it's literally my pet peeve. I mean, I don't like human beings. I think we should be wiped out. We should be wiped out. That's what the album's about. The Hope List. It's about wiping out people. Obviously in general, I think people. I prefer to see the positivity in like people. Obviously, because my main thing is I just love animals more than anything that I can think of. Like, I really don't like how most people treat animals. But I guess that's a pet peeve. So it's a literal pet peeve. People peeving on pets, disliking pets and animals and stuff. So yeah, that's me.
So pets over humans is what you're saying.
Yeah, just animals in general. I spent half an hour getting a midge out of the shower the other day. It took me literally. It's because it doesn't go because it's nice and warm. So I'm trying to like fucking stand the thing, and you get like a tiny bit of tissue, like just a tissue, put it on the corner, you get the midge. Because once I know that the midge is in there, I can't have a shower knowing that the chances are it's going to get stuck to the side and then die, right? If it's going to die, it's going to die anyway, right? I don't care how long the lifespan is, but I do care about knowing that there's a midge there that I'm going to be the cause of. So this Christmas, I'm going to be staying at home, okay? The midgets can survive and whatever. Sorry, carry on.
What about you anyway, Matt? What are your pet peeves? What pisses you off the most?
How long you got? I can't. Do you know? I can't think of one thing. Like, there's the usual shit that everyone deals with day to day. I'm a cyclist. I cycle a lot. So you could say cars, but then people on bikes are dickheads. So like, what's the point? I'm a dickhead when I'm in a car as well. So there you go. What's the point? No, man. No, I haven't got any kind of ultimate pet peeves.
No.
Nah. What about you guys?
Oh, we have a list.
Ooh.
Yeah.
List and list.
Ooh.
This is where I start agreeing with all of them. Oh shit, yeah, actually, yeah. That's good, yeah.
I will let you know the cheekiest answer we've ever had for this question with a
Go on.
guest was we said, what's your pet peeve? And he said podcasters. Just straight face.
Wow.
And we still don't know whether he was joking or not. So that's been our best answer.
I've got time for that. That's good.
That's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
There's really like petty ones that we've got. Like, so one of my big ones was like slow walkers. Can't stand slow walkers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
My biggest
Slow.
one.
Yeah, that's really mad.
My biggest one when people were happy and could go to the cinema was people on the phones in the cinema.
Yeah.
That's bad, man.
Yeah, that's just rude.
Yeah.
That's just rude.
My girlfriend used to do this with her sister because they had like a Cineworld card. They go to the cinema, right, and they go in and not on the phones, they're separate, but like in a cinema, and they just talk. You know, like when you just like, because I'm always going like, all right, yeah, this is what it is, like that kind of volume, like really quiet if I was going to say something, and because I'm usually being like, check this shot out that they're doing with the thing, like something that I think's really cool or like new or something. I'm not saying, and it'd just be the volume. They'd talk at they'd be like, yeah, that's really good. I'm like, honestly, and I said to them, I was like, you're right, like what's happening? And it's like people genuinely don't realize that they're being like inconsiderate or whatever. Like that's just a normal like talking volume.
Yeah.
So it was just like, no, they're just quietly trying to speak to the next person. So I think that a lot of, you know, like people's morality with how loud they're talking the thing. I can fully imagine people going straight back to cinemas, phones, like filming, all sorts of weird shit. So I'm with you there.
Yeah.
In a cinema.
What do you think? What do you think gigs are going to be like? Because I know obviously it's a big thing that's been brought up loads of times, like phones at gigs and that. Like in my view, I feel like people might appreciate what they're seeing a bit more. Hopefully, maybe not spend most of the gig with the phones up. But I don't know. What's your guys' views on that?
Nah, that'll go straight back out the window. You know, like that's just part of what it is these days now, isn't it? It's like you know, it was lighters before, and it's now
that's true.
You know, it's now a Nokia 3310.
How will people know you've gone to a gig if you haven't took a photo or a video?
Exactly.
So,
If it's not on
now,
it's not on Facebook or Instagram or all the rest of it. It didn't happen. You know?
Exactly.
Someone's at home waiting for that great quality audio.
Exactly.
That is there. That is up there. It's got to be up there, isn't it? With the
people
filming.
Song.
Yeah. Listen to me singing my favourite song. The whole time, like fucking.
No, that's the best thing. Like when at Download Festival, when I seen like a person in the middle of all these thousands of people with the camera on, you can see the person who they're talking to as they're lifting it up in the air, and then they'll turn the camera back on themselves, and there'll be some like fucking naked guy crowd surfing behind them as they're going past.
Yeah.
Well, guys.
I think that about does it. I think we've taken enough of your time up.
No, thank you guys. It's been good fun. Nice one.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you very much for doing this and taking the time.
No problem, man. No problem at all. You guys, thanks. It's been really fun. Yeah, just hope everyone stays cool and safe and all the other stuff, man. It's
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for
Very
coming on.
much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Nice. Thanks a lot. Bye.
See you later.
See you guys.
Boom. What an episode. That was episode 44 of an Earful podcast with Jack and Mark of Lonely the Brave.
And if you're listening to this the day of release, in a month's time, the full record will be out. So make sure you go stream it. But in the meantime, go stream the EP and get Bright Eyes stuck in your head, as I have been having for the past month and odd. Stream it. It's great. And in the meantime, have a good Christmas.
Yeah, have a good Christmas, definitely. And if you're not doing anything around Christmas time much, apart from having your Christmas meal with your family on Christmas Day, why don't you just go be a lonely sod, go back to your bedroom, put this episode on, go listen to a bunch of our episodes that you can find over on Spotify or YouTube. And just go check out our socials, go check out Lonely the Brave socials, keep up to date with the music, and as Matt said, new album out in January, which we're all looking forward to. So have a good rest of your Christmas and a good New Year as well, and we'll see you next year.
Yeah, next episode will be out next year, boys.
Ooh.
However, if you didn't know, we've probably got a bonus episode out at this point as well. So if you've managed to get to right at the end as I'm chatting shit and you've probably clicked off by now, go listen to that.
Have a Chris.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.